And Dr. Uzo Manuako, Deputy Director, Department of Health, Planning, Research and Statistics of the Federal Ministry of Health and Social Welfare, is in the studio to speak to us more on the day. Dr. Manuako, thank you so much for joining us on the Network News.
Thank you, Elizabeth.
Thank you very much. Now, in building resilient health systems and securing sustainable health outcomes, how are we faring as a nation?
Thank you very much. As you know, health is considered one of the very fundamental rights of every human. The current administration views health as that right and has institutionalized and structured a number of reform programs that would ensure that the dignity of the human being is protected, and that a number of strategies are now in place to be able to achieve that. The Honorable Coordinating Minister of Health, as you had heard in the news, is leading the charge around the One Health approach, which is the corner of health security again, discusses the nexus between human health, animal health, plant health, and the environment. And these coming together are usually the focus from where disease springs, and understanding that, working with science, understanding the facts of it are very important and pertinent for us in the sector to be able to combat disease. As a country and in the health sector, the Honorable Minister of Health, under the leadership of Mr. President, has itemized and structured health sector blueprint that seeks to take us from the point where we are to a place where Nigerians are able to live better quality lives that is free from financial and physical pain.
Okay. Now, let's talk about steps authorities are taking to educate the public about acts that could compromise public health. What are these acts?
So, you know, public health essentially refers to those things that affects a larger part of the population. So you have clinical medicine, that's the doctor providing care at the bedside, but you also have acts that are able to compromise the health of a larger proportion of people. Arguably, when clinical health is not well protected, it can then cascade into what can become a disease of public health importance. For instance, you know that we've heard that a lot of Nigerians now struggle with such things as non-communicable diseases, cancers, that have now become a public health problem. And just recognizing the trigger effects, the predisposing factors to those are really important to helping us to combat what could lead to those public health problems and prevent them. We're now moving into an era where we're talking about communicable diseases, which has for a long time been a huge burden: malaria, HIV, tuberculosis, vaccine preventable diseases, to the era now of non-communicable diseases, which would be the hypertension, the diabetes, cancers. And it is important to understand that for everyone, there are certain factors that predispose us to any of these, and just being able to recognize them, whether they are on the communicable side or the non-communicable side, it will be important to just take steps to prevent.
I'm glad you mentioned cancer earlier. I can take you on HIV, diabetes, and the others now, but let's talk about cancer, and we'll center on this year's theme, which is focusing on science-driven solutions. So how do we utilize this to build healthier society, especially for persons living with cancer?
So it's important that we recognize that cancer has been with us for a very long time. I think there are, if you take a census of Nigerian families, you would arguably find that every Nigerian has, in one way or another, either lost or had a family member who has had to struggle with any of the cancers, and there's so many of them. And as the theme for this year's World Health Day, which is Together for Health, Stand with Science, we're again putting on the agenda the need for research and innovation, because the cornerstone for finding the life-saving therapies for health and for tackling something like the cancers resides in research and technology. So we continue to invest in health. The Honorable Minister of Health, under the leadership of Mr. President, as you know, has put in place some targeted funding to strategically purchase care for cancer care. And if you look at the tertiary institutions across the country, you would see that there are investments targeted in that area so that Nigerians who can suffer what we call in health financing catastrophic health expenditure resulting from the very high cost of cancer treatments can get some rebates. Dr.
Uzoma Nwankwo, thank you so much for joining us on the news. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. I wish everybody a very happy World Health Day. And remember to take care of your health. Health is wealth.
Yes.
Only a healthy nation can be productive. Thank you.
Thank you very much. You're watching the Network News on NTA. Let's take a break. More news when we return.